A beautiful morning. It is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I am Masiga Shegu Sembatia to bring you this morning's news update live here on Channel 44. We'll start with what's happening here in Uganda. 32 private universities risk closure. Over 40,000 students may be affected. Details are on page 5 of today's New Vision. And also over 2,000 children hit by black water fever, according to study. Moving on Namugan's censure committee to proceed without minister's input. And they also bring you an obituary of Galiwango, Uganda's High Commissioner to Kenya, who passed on. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Museveni attends Abu Dhabi Sustainability Summit. The president of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and he is seen with his host, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the president of United Arab Emirates and ruler of the Abu Dhabi, who held bilateral talks to boost relations between the two countries. The two leaders discussed matters of bilateral and mutual interests on the sidelines of the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, which they both attended. It's in today's New Vision. And in other news, on land wrangles, 90-year-old man gets land back after 10 years. Do not lose hope. 4 ADF suspects charged over murder of police officers, and also pastor arrested over allegations of raping tourists. And in her vision, Dr. Gladys Kalema walks among gorillas. In today's New Vision, there are many job opportunities and tenders at different places. Get yourself a copy. You'll get to know where you can get yourself a job or a tender. In today's New Vision. Off to the Daily Monitor. Schools defy government directives. They go ahead and hike fees. Many educational institutions across the country have turned a deaf ear to government directives not to raise fees in the new term starting in a fortnight, claiming the high cost of living pushing costs through the roof. It's in today's Daily Monitor. They bring you the different schools which have hiked fees. These include St. Mary's Secondary School, Senior Secondary School, Chitende. Old fees was 2,270,000, and now the new fees is 2,495,000. They bring you Green Hill Primary School, Buwate, which was 1.6, and now it is 1,989,000. St. Teresa Namagunga Primary School was originally 1.2 million shillings, and now it has been increased to 1.6 million shillings. Mengo Senior School school fees was 894,500, and now it is 914,000. And then also Lubiri Secondary Schools, original fees were 679,000, and now they've hiked the fees to 700,000. And they also bring a list of very many schools. Find it in today's Daily Monitor, a list of schools that have hiked schools fees, and the old fees and the new fees in today's Daily Monitor. Parents of Kawempe fire victim demand justice, and also schools defy government directive. Galiwango's footprints in politics business. He passed on yesterday. May his soul rest in eternal peace. And also in the Daily Monitors, there are over 100 deals, tender deals at CNOOC, RTI, URA, Total, Bank of Uganda, UNRA, National Water and Sewage Corporation, Vivo Energy, Kampala Hospital, TASO, among many others. Get yourself a copy of the new Daily Monitor and see where you can get yourself a job tender or a job in today's Daily Monitor. I'll now be joined by Livingstone Kawesi for sign language interpretation and translation as we go into today's international news update. In Africa here, the military in Somalia has captured a strategic coastal town that Al-Shabaab jihadists had held for more than a decade. Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre described the taking of Haradher in central Galmudug state as an historic victory. He said the enemy of the nation had been destroyed, and other officials say the Islamic militant group fled without putting up a fight. The loss of the port and supply route is seen as a setback for the Al-Shabaab. In recent months, it has lost swaths of territory during a sustained offensive by government forces working with clan militias. The Al-Qaeda-linked insurgents have responded with frequent bomb attacks. In Malawi, learning in primary and secondary schools resumes today in two major cities following a cholera outbreak that killed hundreds of people. Schools in the capital, Lilongwe, and the commercial hub, Blantyre, had remained closed for at least 2 weeks after the Christmas holidays. The cholera outbreak began in March last year and has so far killed more than 750 people. Infections are still high in Lilongwe and Blantyre. Health Minister Kumbize Chiponda said schools have now access to safe water and improved sanitation facilities, which will go a long way in reducing infections reported in schools. The minister was optimistic that infections in schools would reduce due to improved sanitation facilities. Malawi is among 31 countries globally hardest hit by cholera. Last week, the government asked for international assistance as it was running low on medical supplies. The widespread cases of cholera in the country are a result of the aftermath of Tropical Storm Anna and Cyclone Gombe that caused extensive flooding last year and destroyed the country's water and sanitation systems. Moving on, Italy's most wanted mafia boss Matteo Messina Denaro has been arrested in Sicily after 30 years on the run. Messina Denaro was reportedly detained in a private clinic in Sicily's capital, Palermo, where he was receiving treatment for cancer. He is alleged to be a boss of the notorious Cosa Nostra mafia, and he was tried and sentenced to life in jail in absentia in 2002 over numerous murders. More than 100 members of the armed forces were involved in his arrest. Italian media reported that Messina Denaro was captured just before 9 GMT and taken to a secret location by the Carabinieri. He was reportedly visiting the clinic under a fake name for a course of chemotherapy. In the United States, Republicans have accused U.S. President Joe Biden of hypocrisy following the discovery of more classified documents at his Delaware home. Nebraska Congressman Don Bacon said that if you live in a glass house, you don't throw stones. At least 20 documents related to Mr. Biden's time as vice president have been found at his private residence and at an office he used in Washington. He criticized Donald Trump when his home was raided for classified files. And still in the United States, California has been hit by a final round of storms, bringing more rain and snow to a state already reeling from at least 19 weather-related deaths. Rain and snow are expected on Monday overnight and into early Tuesday morning in parts of the state. Although the weather should improve this week, many areas are currently at risk of floods and landslides. Storms have battered California in recent weeks, flooding communities and forcing evacuations. The back-to-back deluges have eroded roads and felled trees, making each successive storm more liable to cause serious damage as soils weaken. And in the world of environment, the massive volcanic blast in the Pacific last year was felt 18,000 kilometers away on the other side of the world on the floor of the Atlantic Ocean. The cataclysmic eruption of Hunga Tonga Hunga Hapai on the 15th of January 2022 sent pressure waves through Earth's atmosphere that connected with the sea surface and triggered 50 highly sensitive seismometers placed 5,000 meters below on the seabed. It was one of a number of intriguing phenomena picked by the instrument network in the Azores, Madeira, Canary Islands region. Scientists led from University College London had set up the stations primarily to detect the earthquakes. The goal is to use the signals from the ground motions to image the interior of the planet, to trace great upwellings of magma of the type that built the islands of the Portuguese and Spanish archipelagos. And in Nepal, the pilot of the flight that crashed did not report anything outward as the plane approached the airport, according to a spokesman. Anup Joshi said that the mountains were clear and visibility was good, adding that there was a light wind and no issues with weather. There were 72 passengers and crew aboard the Yeti Airlines flight from Kathmandu to the tourist town of Pokhara, which crashed on Sunday. No one is believed to have survived. It is the country's deadliest plane crash in 30 years. And in Asia, China's population has fallen for the first time in 60 years, with the national birth rate hitting a record low of 6.77 births per 1,000 women. The population in 2022, which was 4,118 billion, fell by 850,000 from 2021. China's birth rates has been declining for years, prompting a slew of policies to slow the trend. 7 years after scrapping the one-child policy, it has entered with one official described as an era of negative population growth. The birth rate in 2022 was also down from 7.52 in 2021, according to China's National Bureau of Statistics, which released figures this morning. And finally, in the world of sports, Russian and Belarusian flags have been banned from the Australian Open tennis tournament after a courtside incident. Spectators were initially permitted to bring the flags in Melbourne Park on the condition they do not cause disruption. The organizers reversed that decision today after fans displaced a Russian flag during a match between Ukraine's Katerina Baindil and Russian Kamila Rakimova. The ban is effective immediately. The Tennis Australia team say they will continue to work with the players and their fans to ensure the best possible environment to enjoy tennis is given to them. Well, that brings us to the end of this morning's news update. Thank you for watching Channel 44. The Pastors Now program is up next with awesome testimonies that will bless your soul as you start the morning. I also remind you that we are continuing with the revival nights here at the Miracle Center Cathedral. Pastor Robert Kayanja is being led by the Holy Spirit during these services. Of late, he's been interpreting dreams and having word of knowledge. Come and attend the services. You will be tremendously blessed. God bless you and enjoy your morning.